One of the most important things when you are editing or working in post-production is your file management, because that is kind of the backbone of an efficient workflow. So let's see how I set up my file management and how I've used that structure going all the way back to working on network TV shows as an assistant editor. Here is our folder, and this folder is totally empty, but let's say this is where we're going to start our project. I start by creating a few very specific things. The first thing is I will create a new folder, and I am going to call this folder my media folder. And this is where all of my media is going to be stored. And then I create a projects folder. And if I am also expecting to export something or outputs, I will create an exports folder. It can also be called outputs or renders. I usually avoid renders because I have another area where I have a renders folder. And the main thing here is to make sure that you're not creating duplicate folder names. You don't want duplicate folder names and you don't want duplicate file names. This is the structure, and let's do a quick refresh here. And so this is just how I have it. Sometimes you can number them so they stay in an order, but we'll do this for now. We're gonna go into our media folder and start by creating some additional things. So audio would be considered a media item. We also have our footage, and the last thing is graphics. I just abbreviate it for whatever reason, but graphics folder. And then in my audio folder, let's go there first. You sometimes have voiceover and you sometimes have production audio. So I create a VO folder, and I also create a production audio folder. So anything I record on set. Going back out to the media folder, I'll jump into footage and I do the exact same thing there, but slightly different. I've got my raw footage. I also have maybe transcoded footage. I think people are stomping upstairs. Again, a great chicken place is right upstairs. So if you're in the hankering for some fried chicken, I know where to point you. Straight up. One other folder I often create for larger projects is a proxy folder. And sometimes you could say that these both would be the same, but it depends on if you're going to transcode your footage and work with your final footage in the transcoded folders. Lots of stuff, a whole other topic to discuss, but let's stick with that for now. From here, you can, and especially in doing YouTube videos and stuff, I also create in the graphics folder a frame grabs that I use for any sort of thumbnails, and then I'm always creating PSD files. I like to separate a lot of my files based off of file format, and then I also create a thumbnails folder. And so those are my typical ones, and I'll add depending on it or subtract. Then I come over to the projects folder, and in here I will create a Premiere folder. If I'm doing After Effects, I will create an After Effects folder. Sometimes I might be working in auditions, so I will create an audition folder. There is the basics, but we're going to go one step further, and this is where your file management becomes very, very important. We'll just do it in footage for now, but this also applies to audio as well for production audio. Let's say the raw is here, and a thing I have started to do, which works fantastic for organizing, is I will start by creating the year. So let's say you're doing a documentary or a long show that spans over a year. You start in September and then you wrap in May. So you've got 2 years. And what I do is I go 2019. I've got my entire year written there. But I expect this show to move over to 2020. I can just go 2020 and that folder is there to go. And so I've separated it into years. Now within the year, I do this little thing. And this helps me find footage super fast. I go 01 January dash the year 19. And the same thing with February 19. And for me, it's faster to find the month when I read it as opposed to finding the numbers, but you still get the idea. They stay in order because you're giving them month 1, month 2, month 3. Within there, I open it up, and this is the next important thing. It's what I call show codes. So for this one, I'm going to call the show code JI for Jared Isham. So I create a new folder. The date, let's say, is the 1st of January. Now, it's not the 1st of January right now, but this is just for an example. I do this whole thing, 2019. You sometimes can get away with just doing 19, but let's just do 2019. And this is all the days of the month. And within, you create a new folder for each day. I open this up, and my show code is JI for Jared Isham, JI, and 2019. And let's say this is camera roll 1 or camera A roll 1, go A 01. And that is where I put all of my camera footage, the raw footage, because we are in the raw folder right there. And let's say I shoot on 2 cards with that camera, then what I would end up doing is JI 01 2019 A02. Now, if you have a ton of cameras, you could go as far as making a folder and dropping them in there so you can figure out which camera is going where. And that is an option. You go through that, do the exact same thing for your audio, production audio, create your year, jump in here in 2019, and your roll would probably be 2019. For this, I go SR for sound roll, A01. And then the same thing, let's say there's 2 sound rolls. So JI 2019, sound roll A02. When you are in your footage, you want your raw to be mirrored by your transcode folder and your proxy folder. So you want the folder structure to be identical. Now your transcoded footage will probably be a different file extension. So it might be R3D and you transcode to MOV. R3D is red footage. And MOV could be like ProRes HQ444 or something. And then in your proxy folder, there it is, it likely is going to have underscore proxy. That is how I set up my folder structure. And then what you can do is create this folder structure empty like I have, and for each new project, all you have to do is copy those, create a new folder, paste it in, and your folder structure is done. It's templatizing the whole process. And that is how I keep everything organized and know where everything is and can categorize it by project, and it works great. An example here for you real quick. All of 2018 vlogs and videos, all right here, and I can dive down into the footage. I got proxies, I've got my raw, all separated into months, and I know that I did a collab in August, and bam, there's all of the footage, and I can just find out what day it is. So I've got a playlist I've set up all about how I efficiently and quickly edit and how you can understand the program. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell so you can be updated every time I post new content to this channel. And I'll see you in the next video.